differentiate it a little bit. So for example, section 1, I'm getting ready to do a couple of these. They're all the same. They're all the same type. Then when you get into section 2, those are all going to be the same type. So the only difference between 2 and 3 is that I've kind of broken it down a little bit more, like type by type, instead of throwing a million things at you. Now, the first 5 problems on level 2 are exactly the same as level 1. So let's say you get done with the first few problems on level 2, you get to here, you go to this next section and you're like, snap, I'm confused and I'm not available to explain it to you. Go ahead and go to level 1 and you'll still be doing the same types of problems, okay? So my preference is that we stay here in the middle of the road or higher, but I understand you might not be able to, you might need more practice. I understand for a fact. Some of you guys are probably going to need that, okay? So let's start here. So whether you're on 2 or 1, we should all be looking at this first problem because it's the same no matter what. And again, level 3 people, you can make the choice to do level 2 if you want. Like, that's up to you. Just because I gave you a star doesn't necessarily mean, that you have to. That's up to you. But your check for understanding, if you don't have one, then you don't know. It's fine. All right, so we're going to talk about this first section. So section 1, and those of you guys working on level 3, I can talk over you. Obviously, you guys can go ahead and... No, I know that's what I'm saying. No, I was literally saying, no, go ahead. You're doing something different right now. I'm fine with that. I can talk over you. I wasn't trying to be a smarty pants. I know it probably sounded like I was. All right. So most of us are here, level 2, starting with the first section, okay? First thing you are going to do for every single step, the reason the title says distribute, for everything in this section, your first step is going to be to do what? What's your educated guess tell you? You're going to distribute, okay? That's why it's the title of the section, okay? So every problem in this section, your first step is going to be to distribute. Just in case we don't remember what distributing entails, remember that means you're going to multiply, okay? Oh, sorry, level 3 people also, make sure, because we're all over the place, I need work on paper too, because I really need, I know, it's fine, just skip down. It's okay where you started, because I really need to actually see what you're doing, because we're all over the place and I'm going to have to look at it at a different time. So make sure you've got your work on paper, okay? All right, so step 1, we're going to distribute, which means we're going to multiply. So I'm going to take that 2 and I'm going to distribute it. I'm going to multiply it by 5n. So that first step, I'm going to distribute. I'm going to take that number on the outside. I'm going to distribute. I'm going to take that 2 and multiply it by 5n. 2 times 5 is 10. And, of course, the n is sitting there with it. When you distribute, though, of course, you have to multiply it by both items inside of those parentheses. So 2 times negative 4... I'm sorry, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Sorry, I thought of the answer in my head. So every problem in this first section, the first step will be to distribute, aka multiply. And I'm going to bring down the second part, the other side of the equation. So step 1, we need to distribute. After that, step 2 for every single problem will be to isolate that x, or in this case, n, I guess. We're trying to get that n by itself. So step 2, we're going to isolate. We have 2 things that are with the variable that need to go. We've got that 10 and we've got that minus 4. Technically, you could cancel out the 10 first if you wanted to, but here's why I wouldn't do that if I were you. Because that 10 sitting next to the n, does that mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Does this mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Right there. Multiply, which we cancel out by division. Here's why I wouldn't do that first. Because if you divide by 10, you got to divide everything by 10. And 84 divided by 10, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. I would rather not do it first. So for each of these problems, the way they're laid out, the easiest thing will be to cancel the adding or the subtracting first. So every single one of these, it's going to be easier if you cancel the adding or the subtracting first. I'm calling this like step 2A. So cancel the minus 4 first, simply because it would be easier. How do I cancel out a minus 4? What's the inverse? What's the opposite of minus 4? Plus 4, right? Why am I not going to add a 4 there? It's not the same thing. They're not like terms. Variables are racist. They like to be with their own kind. You don't want to add an n to a number because you can't do it. If I do it over here, I got to do it over here though also, because I can do negative 84 plus 4. I can add numbers together. So that's going to cancel. I need to bring down that 10n. Negative 84 plus 4 is negative 80. And then I'm going to call this step 2B. Last thing I'm going to do is cancel that multiplication. There is no division in any of the problems that you're going to be doing today. So 10 sitting next to the n means multiply. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 10. So I've got my isolated n, because those are going to cancel, is equal to negative 8. The class kick is there for you to be able to know that you're doing it right as you're doing it, because obviously you're all doing different stuff. It's going to be faster and easier for you to be able to check your work, but I would need your steps on the paper, because I'm going to have to go back and look after the fact and actually look at your work and make sure we're in good shape after this lesson, because honestly, we'll be all over. And level 3 people, I'm getting ready to get you in a second. Okay?
Do I have to write that?
Oh, you can type on Class Kick. Yeah, showing your work, I mean, as long as I see your work, I mean, everybody could type it if they want. I know, Jenna, do you like doing your scratch work on Class Kick? That's okay if you want to do that. Okay. Either way, but yeah, as long as I got the work, I just need, and obviously you kind of need it. All right, level 2 people, those of us that need to check number 2. First things first, do your distributive property. First things first, do that distributive. So negative 2 times 7x leaves you negative 14 with an x. Negative 2 times 8 leaves you negative 16 is equal to negative 114. So I need to distribute first on every single problem. Okay, so distributive. Step 2, you need to isolate. And remember I said it's going to be easier if you cancel the adding and subtracting first. So that's going to get you a plus 16. I'm going to bring this down. Lots of people have been adding this wrong today. It's negative 98, not 140. It's like you owe me $114, but then you pay me back some. And then last but not least, you're going to divide both sides by negative 14. So I get x is equal to positive 8.